and good evening, and welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of the show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So this is my Wednesday night favorites, and I'm going to do a kind of one-off here. I don't normally do rankings, but mostly because I don't have all the material to do it. I'm one of those people that like to have all my props when I'm doing anything, especially a ranking. I want to have them all. And that tends to be my way. Not always the right way, but that's the way I work. And so today we're doing the Jimi Hendrix Experience. For those of you who have watched my recent performance on the Psychedelic Snack, you know that I've come into the possession of all three of the Jimi Hendrix Experience albums. I've actually listened to these before. The Hendrix Experience album, Are You Experienced? I had that one in cassette. The Bold Is Love I had in cassette, and I had it in CD before. I'm not really sure what happened to it, but I have it again anyways. And then the Electric Ladyland I'm just familiar with. I never actually owned the album. So I decided that, you know what, there's only the three. This is going to be a fairly short video, obviously. But Hendrix is a musician that I had a spell with in the mid-'80s, probably right after I moved out, or just before I moved out. So about 85, 86, 87, in those 3 years. And then I kind of drifted away and periodically come back and forth from him, but pretty much that was the dominant era for me with him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rank these albums according to exactly how I always do, which is my least favorite to my most favorite, and I'll try to explain a little bit why this one or that one is my favorite, or this one or that one is my least favorite. Pretty much it was between two albums. The third album is a little bit weaker to me. It might be because of my listening. I haven't listened to it as much as the other two, but I do like the other two quite a bit. It could go either way. It actually originally was the opposite way, but I switched it at the last minute because I just said to myself, you know what, there's just this album, I just like it more. It's nothing anything particular. I just happen to enjoy it more. So we'll do this the way we normally do it, and if you want to put down how you like these albums and why you like them better, that's all the more. Maybe there's something you'll say that'll say, hey, you know what, I never thought of that. Maybe I should listen to that a little bit more. And that happens quite a bit. I hear people that talking about an album I don't particularly like, and they make me want to go back and listen to it again. And that's what's special, because a few albums and a few groups like that people have pushed me into, and now they're among my favorite bands. Okay, so we're going to start with the number 3 album, and it shouldn't probably come as much a surprise that it's going to be this one, Electric Ladyland. And this is a good album. Don't get me wrong. I like this album a lot. It's got a lot of a psychedelic element to it, but it's a little different than the other two. I find that it tends to be moving away from his more mainstream stuff. More blue. He did more bluesy, more heavy guitar riffing and heavier stuff on the other two albums. This one not as much. Just seems to move. It's not that he doesn't do stuff like obviously Crosstown Traffic and Voodoo Child Slight Return are both really kind of heavy moving songs, but for the most part I just find this album a little bit more subdued, maybe a little bit more psychedelic as well. The other tracks on this album I like a lot. I like the other Voodoo Child too, not just the Slight Return, but the longer one. That one is very good. Gypsy Eyes is a pretty good song as well. And of course, All Along the Watchtower and that's a classic Hendrix song, even though he kind of took that off of our favorite folk singer. Although, to be honest with you, I never liked his version of it at all. So this version's much better to me. And of course, the ends off with Voodoo Child Slight Return. So this album, very strong, comes in third, and it's not really up to the to my opinion, it's not really up to the level of the other two albums, but still a solid album. Okay, so the next album up is their debut album, which this is a really, really good album, man. Are You Experienced by the Jimi Hendrix Experience, coming in at number 2. And this particular collection of the album I like a lot. I like the cover. It's fantastic. That kind of distorted view of them in the middle. The back cover is fantastic as well. I did do a cover on this album on my Look Back at a Classic Rock album. If you want to hear more about it, you can go to that video as well under my classic Look Back at a Classic Rock album list. Anyways, it's got some really nice stuff to it. This album has, of course, the legendary Purple Haze, which is the first Hendrix song on the album. Manic Depressive, which I think is a much underrated song. Love this track, was one of my favorites when I was younger. Hey Joe's good. I Don't Live Today is just, I like the live version of I Don't Live Today better, but this version is still really good. It's one of my favorites Hendrix songs, one of my shower favorites. Wind Cries Mary, another excellent tune. The Great Fires on here. Foxy Lady, Are You Experienced? Like, this is just almost like a greatest hits in some ways. Stone Free, yeah, really, really solid album. Actually, Stone Free may be one of the bonus extras on here. I'm thinking it is. Doesn't say, but that's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking that the extras on here are quite good, like Red House, Remember, Can You See Me, Highway Chili, 51st Anniversary, and Stone Free. I think those are all the extras. But Are You Experienced, the title track, which is the last one, another great track. So this is a super album with lots of really solid Hendrix music. Was number 1 for me at one point, and then I decided to go with this as my number 1 today. Axis Bold as Love. And I think it just comes down, do I think it's a better album than Our Experience? Probably not. But I like it more because I've had a lot more experience with this album. I've listened to it for now over almost coming up to 40 years. I've been owning and listening to this album. Some of the tracks on here are among my favorite Hendrix tracks. I like the cover a lot. It's really psychedelic looking. Some nice shots of him here. This album is fantastic. It's got a lot of tracks on it. I've actually done a video of this on my Look Back at a Classic Rock album too. So if you want to go and look more into that, you can. But I really like the opening with the EXP when they're talking about alien coming from outer space. Spanish Castle Magic, maybe my favorite Hendrix song of all time. Love it. It's got everything about it. It's heavy, it's psychedelic, and the lyrics are great. He sings fantastic on it. Can't Wait Till Tomorrow, another great track. Little Wing, of course, is that much underrated but great Jimi Hendrix track. 6 turned out to be a 9. If 6 was 9, I like this track. It's a deep cut for me. This album, of course, was produced by Chaz Chandler too. Did Chaz produce the first one as well? I think he did. Pretty sure I think maybe he did them all. I think he probably did them all. I know he did this one for sure. You Got Me Floating, great Castles Made of Sand, another fantastic Hendrix song, one of my favorite of all time. The vocal song "She's So Fine" by Noel Redding, really great. Little Miss Lover, I like the heavy part to this song. It's really good. And Bold as Love, which is really good. Yeah, so I think this album has more of my favorite deep cuts, but this album has more of my favorite stables that people have come to know. Could have gone either way, and I might change my mind as soon as this video is over and put this one up top, because it's newer and it's fresher to me. Well, it's not newer, but I haven't had it for a while, so it's fresher to me. But you're not going to go wrong with either. So I'm going to go with the ranking that I had to start. Axis Bold as Love coming in at number 1. Are You Experienced at number 2. And Electric Ladyland at number 3. This album may grow in time as I get to listen to it more. It's a little bit distant from these two, but still pretty solid album. So there you have it. The ranking of the studio discography for the Jimi Hendrix Experience. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. So please like and subscribe. This will come out 8 o'clock. Tomorrow, I did this late on Tuesday because tomorrow is a big day for me. I got stuff going on, so I may not get to it. And I feel fresh. I don't feel tired, so I figured, you know what, I'll do it now while I'm not passing out and yawning all over the place. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe. We'll see you again next week with another favorites. Take care. Bye.